It may be a week late, but Iron Banner is finally with us again. So, of course, Iron Banner is active, so in case you want to actually get your hands on any of the gear, play the mode for your first time, or just kind of run things as usual in terms of however Iron Banner is, this is the week to do it. So, going into the world, of course, you spawn in, and I gotta admit, this is starting to get annoying. This is another week where the active booster is not a Crucible booster while Iron Banner is active. Bungie, it made it so simple to clear out every reputation gain required. When Iron Banner was around, you played for whatever Iron Banner stuff you needed, and then you went away. Because you didn't need to play normal Crucible. It's getting so annoying. But aside from that, some of the changes that come to Iron Banner this time around, it got the new legacy and focus decoding sort of thing. So yes, you can get gear to drop directly from the game mode itself, and there is some new stuff. I'm not sure if there's going to be any new shader, or if the old chainmail one is going to be coming around, but regardless, basically, they have the focus decoding that is current, which would drop anything that is still being updated, which includes the Hero's Burden, the Wizened Rebuke, Allied Demand, Roar of the Bear, Dark Decider, Gnora's Axe, and the recently returned Yorm's Claw and Bite of the Fox, both those returning from early days of Destiny 2 Iron Banner. But however, there is also the legacy gear, so anything that's currently not in rotation, aka that isn't dropping normally, whether it is any of the previous sets of armor from all the way back to Forsaken, Black Armory, Season of the Chosen, Season of the Hunt, as well as Season of the Lost, which I gotta admit, I still kind of hate this set because of the mushrooms, but at the same time, if you want any of the gear that's currently not in rotation, the Occluded Finality, Reese Walker, Archon's Thunder, Peace Bond, Forge's Pledge, Frontier's Cry, and Razor's Edge weapons are all currently available for legacy focusing at any time as long as you have the required resources. But aside from the Iron Banner details going throughout the world, like I said, it is not Crucible. It is currently a Vanguard rank booster active. So if you wish to actually get double ranks on strikes and nightfalls, now is the time to embark upon that. But currently, in terms of our Nightfall, we do have the European Dead Zone with the redone Arms Dealer, which is a pretty interesting redo. It didn't seem harder until maybe the boss, but then again, that might just be the difficulty changes throughout the world. But otherwise, in terms of our Nightfall surges and all that, we have Barrier Unstoppable Champions, then we also have a Solar Threat for increased incoming solar damage, Pestilence for Scion Spawn Void Grenades at death, Togetherness, where you have to be close to your allies to regen health. We also have the Overcharge weapons variety, as well as Void Surge and Strand Surge, if you wish to progress those things, and Overcharged rocket launchers for our Nightfall this week. And at the same time, because once again, you are actually able to check and see what is available from Zavala, it is currently, keep going to the wrong one, let's see, not Legacy, Focus. It is currently the Malicious Birthright as our Nightfall weapon. And of course, that means that in another 6 weeks that we'll get access to the adapted version of Malicious Birthright once again. Now, all these are refreshed for the year, so expect that. But in case you needed to see what it looks like, that's what it is. A kinetic lightweight grenade launcher. I almost said grenade frame. Of course it's grenade frame. It's a grenade launcher. But aside from that, in terms of the rest of the world, nothing new with Gambit. As usual, in Crucible, we do have Momentum Control available alongside Iron Banner, so expect a weekly challenge to reflect that it is Momentum Control. Now, just kind of darting throughout the world. In terms of our rotations and our raids in Dungeon Theater, our weekly farming raid is the Vault of Glass, which means, of course, all challenges are currently active at any point. Any encounter can be done infinitely, as well as challenge modes, and master mode is available to farm for any mobility-focused armor and get access to any of the time-lost gear available from this. But actually, I guess I didn't see this before. There are frickin' surges in raids now, as well as overcharges. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but that might actually make farming these easier now. Aside from that, into the rest of the world, our weekly farming dungeon is currently the Shattered Throne, which is a pretty easy one. Granted, the drops are things that are accessible anywhere in the throne world, from Blind Well or just being in the Dreaming City, so it's entirely possible that farming the Shattered Throne for drops is kind of pointless. But into the rest of the area for our raids. Now, current active King's Fall challenge is Devious Thievery challenge. Then going back and forth, let's see. There's still no challenge modes in Root of Nightmares. I think challenge mode officially launches with Master Mode to get access to the Adept version of those things, so stay tuned for them. But as well, going back to Europa, Farming Week is done for Europa, but is back to Of All Trades Challenge, which is Nuclear Descent, or Third Encounter Challenge, where every player, or I think it has to be a 5 team of 6, but every person has to do every job at least once, essentially. Then back to the Throne World for Vow of the Disciple. It is currently the Swift Destructions Challenge, which is First Encounter Challenge, in which that you have to kill all of the unstoppable abominations within a relatively short time frame of each other to progress that. Oh, and lastly, on the moon, I believe it was 0 to 100 last week, so it'll be the Leftovers Challenge from the first encounter, I think that one is. I always forget which one it is, but there you go, Leftovers Challenge. So, in terms of our rotation throughout the world, let's check with Eternity to see what the Dares of Eternity Legend mode is, and it is currently Hive Vex and Valis to Auric for Legendary Farming rotation. Now, we have another week of new stuff from the European Dead Zone and the EDZ. With the Avalon mission, I expect new dialogue and progression further of the Vexcalibur mission. I believe you just have to go and visit the Helm to actually collect it. But speaking of Helm, there is, of course, the progression of the story this week to go along. Part 4 of 5 of the Weekstand Unbroken. Next one will be, I don't want to say seasonal finale, but it'll be like the cherry on top for the season until it actually officially ends. And until we get a higher difficulty Defiant Battlegrounds. But then, speaking of seasonal, into our challenges for this week. So we're on week 4, where the first challenge, of course, is just continue the challenge of this week. You also have Cunning Liberator for defeating combatants in the Defiant Battlegrounds playlist using energy weapons specifically. Bonus progress if they deal void or arc damage. And then we also have decoding or focus Defiant engrams at the war table during Season of Defiance. Any prior doings would already auto-complete it, so some of you might have that done. And then we also have the Strandweaver, which is complete the final Strand quest for earning the Final Warning sidearm. Also, defeating combatants throughout Ni no Muna, bonus progress for sidearm usage. And we also have unlocked artifact mods, which basically, if you've unlocked every one of the artifact mods you can, you finish that. And then there we go, the aforementioned momentum control thing, where it's basically defeating Guardians of Momentum Control, bonus progress, while Zone Advantage is active. However, it's just 50, so that can actually go by pretty quick. You also have the Razor's Edge, which is basically use bows, glaives, and swords in Gambit. You can use all 3 at once if you want to. Might be a little annoying, but you can. We also have Darkest Nightfall, which is complete a Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher, where they have to actually rework that because I'm pretty sure Adept doesn't exist anymore. It's basically complete Nightfalls then. And we also have Precision Calibration, which is calibrating marksman weapons, including scout rifles, sniper rifles, and linear fusion rifles. Surprised it doesn't include bow, by landing precision final blows, bonus progress in the Crucible, and or Gambit against Guardians. So on that note, that is pretty much everything throughout the world that has rotated in and out with the world. Like I said, Iron Banner is around until next week, but they are available 3 times this week, so if you want to get your hands on that, that is that. And I've actually forgot to mention one thing. Iron Banner is going to be shifting modes allegedly 3 times this season. So currently, Iron Banner is going to be Zone Control. So it's basically standard Iron Banner, control the zones. More than one zone gives you advantage. If you have the power play, you gain bonus points, and then eventually, I believe it will also. I forget if the hunt exists anymore, but you know, there's that. Now into the weapons available at Banshee this week. So we have on the front page, under your skin, a precision frame combat bow, Void from Season of the Risen. Judgment of Kelgroth, a solar aggressive frame glaive from Season of the Chosen. Or that's wrong, Season of the Seraph. Peace of Mind, a rapid fire frame kinetic pulse rifle from Season of the Risen. We also have Farewell, a lightweight frame sidearm from Season of Splicer, and Negative Space, a sword from Season of Rivals, which is kind of useless nowadays. And then in terms of his main stock, we have the 7 Seraph Officer Revolver, which oddly enough drops from the dungeon, but he also sells perks and all. So, curious. Then we also have Jaraka, which this is the same role that I might have actually pretty much recommended some time ago. One difference being Headstone, of course, but I would also recommend that just because it's a pretty good role. Headstone and a lot of things, even if you're not running a stasis build, it's still pretty handy. We also have the Redback 5SI, which is a sidearm, but unfortunately a pea shooter of a sidearm. So there is that. And the Kello shotgun, which is Feeding Frenzy 1-2 punch, might not be that half bad if you need a 1-2 punch shotgun. But honestly, I'd recommend something a little bit more powerful. Granted, you can craft that, so you can kind of spec it out as you want it. You also have Taipan 4FR, which while this roll is a pretty ideal roll for damage, of course, there is still the craftable version that I would recommend folks get their hands on. And we also have the Marcelion C, which is a rapid-fire frame solar Hake grenade launcher, which, I gotta, hang on, I'm gonna spend a few bucks. Can I get one of these to drop red border, please? I haven't gotten the one red border I need to actually craft this, and I don't think there's any sort of crafting quest, so I'm just gonna see if I can get it red border real quick. And last try before I cut down to 801. Alright, giving up on it for now. Might continue later when I have more inventory slots. But of course, time to go check with Ada to see what she has currently available in terms of her weekly shaders. So, for shaders, it seems to be pretty well, I was going to say Iron Banner theme from the visuals, but not at all. So we have Gold Leaf from Season of Opulence, which is, if I recall, just a pretty gold look, which honestly kind of works for Iron Banner if you're looking for that look. And we also have the Echoes of Io Green Rarity shader, which is, you blend in with Io pretty well, but it also was meant to go with the Jensen Scribe set. We also have the Dead Orbit Vision from Season of the Warmind, which if I recall, it's actually not half bad. But I actually already have it, I think. Yep, I actually have all of these. So, don't need to pick any of them up myself. But on that note, that is the reset. Of course, this is the usual details, as Destiny will be this way for a week. I just punched my desk with my knee. So, in case you wanted to actually get your hands or get your hands into any of these activities, especially Vault of Glass, I would recommend you get your hands on them now, because if they disappear for a while, it's likely they are not coming back until they rotate all the way around, which could be some weeks. On that note, my name is Matt Scorpion. I will see you in the next video.